Here we are on Thanksgiving morning for a nice, fun, new second podcast.
This is exciting. You brought this topic up just this morning. We changed what we were supposed to talk about today, and today we'd like to talk about this issue, this issue that always comes up with a lot of actors.
By the way, acting teachers and other systems or techniques, I think we all might be in the same boat on this one, in agreement, I think. That is, it works in the classroom or it works in the workshop, Anthony, but it doesn't work on set.
I hear that from some of my students, or I see it. I see it when I watch them, and they don't do their process. Maybe because, I don't know, for what reason for you?
The biggest thing, every time it kind of happens with me, I just deconstruct. I'm like, okay, when you were in class and it worked, where were you psychologically, emotionally? And they'd always say, oh my God, let's say, just for this example, they were doing a sense memory workout and it really, really triggered something deep and it worked beautifully in class. Let's just for this, right? As an example, they're like, well, in class, oh my God, I saw my grandmother and I heard her, and they'll go through this whole thing on how present they were, and in this example, how much of how their grandmother, which we call your choice, people call it different things, but we call it your choice, how their choice really affected them. But in the classroom, they were open, as raw as a clam, and they were just
So available and sensitized.
and the priority in that moment was nothing more than reacting to the creation of their grandmother. Okay, that's great. It's a good reason why it worked in class. So tell me about where your focus and priorities were and blah, blah, blah on set or on stage. And let's use set for this example. They're like, the director was barking, the producer was barking at the director because the producer was saying that there's only 30 minutes left on this location and they didn't have any kind of permit to go further. And now the director is barking at us that we gotta do this in 1 or 2 takes tops, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, well, tell me about you though. That was with them. I had to deliver, right? So all of a sudden, grandma, you see I'm doing air quotes because it's just, right? Grandma, so all of a sudden is in the back seat. She's in the back row. She's not even, basically, grandma's useless.
Yeah.
In that situation, right? And you can apply this really to any technique. When you're present in class with whatever that methodology, technique, whatever that is, magic happens. But if it's not prioritized and you're not surrendering in the same way on set or on stage, you can't expect it to produce the same results as you did in the workshop. The other thing, and this is big, I find, at least I speak for my own class. I think I could speak for yours too.
Yeah, you've taught in the Philippines. You know our actors.
Yeah, no, but even for you personally, I think on this one is that, yeah, no, I can't. It's that the big thing with us is that we're always creating a safe place. Safe, 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 safe. The actor has to have a place to fail. It's that simple. If they don't have a place to fail, how are they ever going to grow? Right? And they don't always have a place to fail on set.
No.
Right? But they have to have a place to fail in the cultivation, the development of their talent. But then on set, the guards are up. I got to be a professional, whatever that could mean. I've got to deliver. I got to do this in 1 take. And if it's more than 1 take, it's not my fault. I know right?
Yeah.
Well, all of a sudden, again, in this example, grandma's non-existent. How do you expect grandma to affect you? The techniques you learn, I can't speak for other techniques, but I'll try here. whatever you learn in the classroom is usually pretty applicable for the set. Usually it is, but sometimes if your mindset, your emotional, psychological place is completely in a different place, it's really difficult to apply them.
Yeah, it
Apply
is a
the
mind.
techniques.
It is a mind game. It is, even with my actors, I always do anecdotes about sports or about something that needs real preparation, because acting, yes, there's the magic of being in the moment and being impulsive and staying in the moment and just using whatever is in front of you as it unfolds and capturing that magic. But at the same time, in order to have that, there must be a lot of preparation. Like, I'm an opera singer, and in order to perform one role, one opera like Carmen, there must be loads of preparation from understanding the language, from the technique, the singing, so that you're in tip-top shape, so that when you are able to perform, when you're performing it, it feels in the moment and as effortless, as natural as possible. If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
But behind that, you're relying on everything that you've worked hard for.
And if you have a foundation, a strong foundation that you've done an enormous amount of preparation, that's a whole nother, by the way, a whole other podcast. What is preparation? To go to character breakdown is too much right now to go into that here, but if you're very steeped in preparation, you can get out of your own way.
What does that mean, get out of your own way?
Okay.
Why? Are you in the way?
Yeah. Yeah, we always get in our own way, don't we? Let's, the story of life, right? Getting in your own way. All right, here we go. You ready? In this basic example, I'm not really fully prepared, okay? Let's just say something technical like lines, all right? Are you really present when you're not fluid with your lines, or are you thinking about the lines? Are you thinking about the cue? Are you thinking about, you see where you're going? You're not present if you're doing that. But let's go something more emotional, psychological. Let's say you have to be in love in this scene and really touched by the other person in a romantic, loving way. And you're present and you're like, there's nothing romantic going on. There's no sense of any of that. So if you're not in a place to truly experience love and know how to create love, romantic love, what are you going to do? Well, most actors start pushing. Oh, I love you, right? That's getting in your own way. That's totally getting in your own way. Why? Because you weren't really prepared to, number one, experience love, number two, know how to create it.
So pushing is a telltale.
Oh, heavens, yes. Well, pushing is I was just watching a musical, we won't name it now, where the actor just pushed and pushed and pushed. And then again, after finished pushing, he pushed some more. And sometimes pushing just has to do with not knowing how. Because this particular actor is a genius. He's brilliant, very talented. Oh man, is he talented. But I don't think some people just don't know how to trust and be and know that your being is much more ample, it's so much more than pushing.
Yeah.
You know?
So going back to...
Yeah, I went off, didn't I?
You went off, but it's a good off. Like, it's a good diversion.
I took a train to another state.
Yeah, so we're going to go... It happens to all of us, but it's a good...
Yeah.
It's a good sightseeing.
Yeah.
Okay, going back now, what you said earlier about this issue, it's a universal issue. I'm sure it's not just in the States and it's not
so
just in the
universal.
Philippines, but all over.
Yeah.
Maybe not just on film and television, but also on stage. Maybe.
Oh, heavens, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Heavens,
So,
yes.
so
Just go to the theater. No, really. And not everyone on every stage is a master craftsman or woman, right? Or
Where is that
crafts
coming?
actor.
Where is that coming from? It only works in the workshop, doesn't work on set. Because the cousin of that, or the brother, or the sister of that is that you don't need a workshop. Because you won't use it anyway. You'll learn everything on the set. Oh, I'm touching sensitive ground, but but it is
To
valid. And
quote,
I'd like to know what you think of it. And
to quote my mentor, people who don't think you need any real training, what he says is a version, or he'll say, it's a good thing that person's not a heart surgeon or a brain surgeon. It's a good thing. Because if you're not going to take stock, and if you're not going to really learn about the human behavior, the transformation of the human behavior, how to access different parts, how to be present, how to listen. You say, listen, how to listen? Don't we all know how to? Yeah, few people really listen. They're too busy trying to act, emote, and trying to deliver a result. You know, the best actors listen. They're just so present in listening. So that's work. I can't speak for anyone but myself and the actors I've taught, but the more equipped you are to deal with different situations, the more tools you have. You want to get in a class that teaches you that. So the question goes like this. What do you do when an actor says it doesn't work in the classroom or in the workshop? But I'm sorry, it does work in the classroom or in the workshop, but it doesn't work on set. After you deconstruct what they're doing in the classroom and doing on the set, you make them aware that whatever they're doing in the classroom, they're not doing on the set, because the priorities are usually very different. The priorities are different because the situation is different. In the classroom, if you're like Anna or I, you create this very safe environment where someone could fail and make mistakes. On the set, you're not feeling that many times. All right? So right there, from surrendering and opening, oh, I gotta deliver. That little psychological shift is the reason why any technique may work in one place and not in another. So really what the answer is, what you want to do is say, wait. My priority is the art of what I'm creating. And you've got to get that intellectually, but you got to own it emotionally. It's one thing just to say it, but you got to own that. And once you own that, then you'll have much more success on any set and on any stage.
so, Anthony, what you're saying is just by being aware of it shifts it already?
Being aware is one thing, but making the adjustment. If the priority in the classroom was to surrender, because you could, you've got to go on your set and say, this is my job.
I have to surrender.
I've got to surrender. Not, my job is to deliver in one take. I better do it right. I better do it perfect, whatever the heck that is, for acting, right? That'll kill you every time.
Your job is to surrender.
Surrender to whatever is going on at that second.
Regardless of the atmosphere, regardless of the situation, wherever you're parachuted into, because in our country, in the Philippines, it's like it is a luxury if you're able to really settle in a location and be relaxed in a location long enough. It is a luxury, and even within that, you can't control the noise.
No.
Most of the time.
It's hard. Who's that actress? I adored her performance in the Philippines. We saw her at Cinemalaya.
Ruby Ruiz. Yeah.
I adored her work.
Iska. Yeah, we watched it.
Yes. Now, this was, we went to Cinemalaya is a film festival in the Philippines. And most of you know this if you're Miss Anna's student or you work with her. Perhaps you're in the festival. Yeah. I don't know, right? Yeah. What's her name?
Ruby.
Ruby. And what was that?
Iska.
Iskash. And how, it was like 4 years ago, maybe?
I think so. Yeah.
About 4 years ago. And since then, I'm like, I adore this actress. I adore her. Why? From my perspective, I watched her and I said, she's really surrendering in that moment and dealing with the stuff, whatever that stuff is going on in that moment. And it was also very well directed, and there was a lot of other things that complemented her performance as well. But
Yeah.
nice.
Surrendering. That's a good word. What I do as
Yeah.
a facilitator, as a coach, So kind of like my way of helping them is I make them aware. Yeah, I make them aware of their priorities on the set and in the workshop. I sometimes say your commitment in the workshop and how you surrender in the workshop, your 100% here usually goes down to 30% when you're on the set because of all the anticipated and unanticipated distractions that might happen or intimidation that might happen on the set. So keep on working, drilling. I drill them a lot. With different scenes that they don't that they don't know of. They only learn the scene in the workshop. I don't make them prepare the night before, anything like that. So that they are trained to think of what's the best process for this? What's the best process for my instrument right now for this?
Nice.
Because I really don't. How do you prepare them? Sometimes they're in the most comfortable situation with very warm-hearted, like-minded actors and directors, and sometimes they feel so isolated.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. You always got to go back to what's your job, and we get lost with that. Our job is to surrender and create the reality, a compelling reality, hopefully. That's our job. What does the term actor mean? It means storytelling. We're storytellers, really, except we do it today in different methodologies and systems of acting and different techniques to make it real, right? Because the more real we can make it, the more the audience will believe us, and the more success, whatever we will have, right? Okay. Getting an actor to surrender, and as you were saying, the drills are critical because I
learned it from you.
Yeah. I'm big
because you
with
drilled me and a lot of us so hard on critical thinking. What's your process here? What's your boom, 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 and then change partners, change scene,
change circumstance,
change circumstance. Yeah.
Why is this, I think, important? Because what's music, right? Opera, which I know nothing about, but I'll make believe I do for this. I'll assume I know something, all right? And you just slap me around when I go totally off.
I'm getting nervous.
Yeah. No, it has to be in your preparation of your scales of the drills you've done. That is, I would think that's what supports the opera.
Yeah.
You can't just go into an opera and riff.
No.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't.
It doesn't remotely work, right? So those drills, when you do drills, good ones that are healthy acting drills, it starts to wire you in a way where, I could.
And it also lessens the intimidation. Especially when you are, again, when the actor is intimidated by very heavy scenes. And the scene depends on this particular actor, for example. That's when they panic or they get intimidated by the scene or what they need to give.
Yeah.
So they throw away all the process, everything that they worked hard for, and just try to deliver.
I've been doing this work since the mid-'80s, all right? So it's a long time. It was in the mid-'90s, 10 years later.
Okay.
Right? 10 years later, everyone. 10 years later of, right? And I was acting in something, and everyone in this collaboration was really shticking it up. You know, shtick?
No.
Acting. Right? But everyone was, right? And it wasn't even the genre of the material. Like sometimes it's like skit comedy or something, you know, where everything's over the top and and you just got to play and have fun with that and liberate yourself. And it wasn't that. It was, but so, in other words, there was so much overacting going on, right? And I'm watching this, right? I'm watching. There was my time, and I went, well, right?
Oh my.
Yeah, and I said, oh my God, I threw away everything, just like that, right? So even when you know it, if you're not aware, you can just throw it, throw everything away, and your choice is to rise up or sometimes down to the event.
Yeah, that's usually me.
That's all of us. We you know, but the awareness of it though. Are you aware you're doing it? And if so, then you can start making adjustments. But sometimes it's hard because when you fight for truth, and there's not much truth going on in that, let's say in that situation, you're like, oh, you're alone, you know, and will this be accepted? All the doubts could start to come in, but that's your job, and you want to always try to raise the standards and the integrity to truth every single time. That's why you want to get with people that honor the integrity of truth. You know why? Because when you're expressing your truth, whatever that is, and you fall on your face doing it, you could do it with integrity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're always nailing it. It doesn't mean it's always theatrically worthy. It doesn't mean that it works. It doesn't even mean that it's believable to the audience. But there's an integrity there. And when there's an integrity, that builds confidence. And that builds a sense of, wow, okay, I'm stronger from this.
I'm stronger. It doesn't lessen me.
Yeah.
I'm growing from this. And at the end of the day, even if you don't hit 100, you come home proud. What would be your advice to actors who feel this? Who've worked so hard but have this urge or doubt or this block that keeps coming up? Yeah. What do you say to these actors who hearts are in the right place, but these blocks or these challenges are just very, very strong, especially when they're on the set and they're alone and they're not with their coaches?
Well, that could be dealt with many, many different ways. But one way I would address it is that doubt you're talking about is usually I'm doing air quotes again, and do a lot of, because it's all example stuff. It's not necessarily literal, real all the time. It's that dirty secret. No one's supposed to know I'm feeling insecure. No one's supposed to know that I'm feeling ashamed of myself because I'm not delivering. No, so I got to act like, I've got to, or whatever that kind of thing is, right? So first thing is deal with your own truth. Express it in a safe place, even if it's just to yourself out loud, but confront that truth because, the truth shall set you free.
Yeah.
Right? It's true. Is that the more you don't, and in order to deal with that truth, you have to have the awareness, right? So work on the awareness to truth. But here's the other thing, and this is another podcast unto itself, and this is to all you truth seekers that are in my opinion, doesn't matter what technique, methodology, system that you're learning. But this is probably the biggest thing I could give you in terms of advice. And it seems to go completely against everything I teach, but it doesn't. If you really want to be honest and truthful in your work, you have to accept the fact that there will be moments and chapters and bits of times that you will be full of poop. You will be full of shit. You have to accept that. Now, you say, what? But I'm a truth-seeking actor, right? But if you're so hell-bent on I gotta be true, I gotta be true, I gotta be true, I gotta be true. It's like trying to play tennis holding a racket like this.
You're clenching. He's to those listening. He's clenching his.
I'm clenching the racket, and you can't play. You got to be loose, right? But if you're so like, I can't do that. That wasn't honest. That wasn't honest. Oh my God, I acted. You see what's going on now? Look at some of the great actors. In my opinion, they're like, yeah, that sucked. Okay, next.
Yeah.
All right. They're not held hostage by every single second. Gotta be. So what does that do? That loosens up their emotional, psychological instrument.
Yeah.
It loosens them up for them to be more free, to be more liberated, because they've accepted that there's no such thing as perfect truth No. But it's a trap to truth-seeking actors that truth-seeking actors fall into all the time. And they usually get more heady, more critical, more doubtful,
More disconnected.
and less honest. That's a tough one, right?
It's a tough one.
It's a
because
tough one.
I'm guilty of that.
Who's not?
I'm guilty of that.
But who's not what truth-seeking actor is not guilty? Oh, this is making me think. My favorite actor in a certain genre kind of thing is Robin Williams. He said, you could bleep it, I don't know, it's not
I'll
that
bleep it.
No, it's not that big. He goes, you've got to go moment to moment, and whatever that is in that moment, and sometimes you have to accept that whatever you say might be sitting like a turd in a punch bowl. And you just kind of look at it and you go, okay, moving on. Like another, yeah. Now that, just owning that doesn't make him, didn't make him like have to censor much at all. And allowed him to be loose because he knew everything he was going to say was not going to be perfectly funny. The air quotes are going to continue because I think you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he said that, I'm like, wow, he doesn't care that there's like a turd in the middle of a punch bowl. He just like, that's it.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah.
To the next.
And he knew that by being, his genius is in his looseness, his freedom.
Yeah, so irreverent.
Yeah, I know.
Turd in a punch bowl. Should we make that another podcast?
Oh my gosh. Like our ideas are giving birth to new ideas.
I know, it's the second podcast, everyone. So
There's something about this coffee that you make.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you so much for joining us. I think he enjoyed a lot. He talked a lot today, which is which is good. And we'd like to invite you for more. So please follow us. This is Anna Feleo and Anthony Vincent Bova, acting, life, and everything in between. Thank you. Please follow, download, subscribe, and comment so that we could entertain your questions and your feedbacks also. Thank you so much. Cheers!
Cheers.